Hello there, my stamping friends. Susan here at Pumpkin Hill Stampers. Today we have a fun fold project for the month of April. This one is dubbed the Triple Pop-Out card. So if you received your kits, you have your template so you can start playing with opening and closing it. So I call it Triple Pop-Out because we've got 1, 2, 3 elements that kind of pop out of the card, right? So we're going to go through the whole process like I usually do with these classes. I'll cut all the elements and then we're going to put it together. So today I'm going to be using the Zoo Crew DSP, and I've already done some trimming with my paper snips to trim these 3 little critters out of one of the pieces. We're going to use this when we finish off the card at the end. So I'm going to put them aside for now and we'll get started. So I'm going to use Lemon Lime Twist as my pop of color. So it's kind of a black and white card, but I'm using this Lemon Lime Twist as our pop of color to border everything. So we're going to start there. Alright, so let me get my trimmer up and my instructions out and we'll start putting it together. Okay, so whether you follow the printed instructions for the tutorial or whether you look at your template to figure out the pieces you need to cut, whatever's best for you is the way you do it, right? Okay, so I'm going to start by cutting my standard piece of cardstock in half at 5.5. So I need a 5.5 by 8.5 for the base. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and turn that and we're going to go ahead and score it at 4.25. So that's halfway. And then we're going to split the front of that again. So half of 4.25 is 2 1/8. So slide it down to 2 1/8. And we'll score again. And now, you know by now that this is really just a Z-fold card, right? It's just a Z-fold. We just fold that back and it's going to create our Z-fold, but this time we're going to add the pop-outs to it. So there's our basic base. We've done that before. Okay, now we need to cut the other elements here. So I'm going to need my little pop-out square for the center here, and then I'm going to need all my trim pieces for there. So first I'm going to do the pop-out. So the pop-out is 3 by 1 3/4. So I'm going to cut at 1 3/4 in the same Lemon Lime Twist, and then I'm going to shorten it to 3 inches. And then to make a box we need 4 sides, so each of the sides is going to be 3/4 of an inch wide. So I'm going to switch to my scoring and I'm just going to slide this down 3/4 of an inch. So we're at 3, so I'm going to go down to 2 1/4. Score. And I'm going to go to 1 1/2. Score, and then I'm going to go down to 3/4, hold it in place, and score one more time. Okay, so now you can just fold it in half and then fold in your 2 sides, and when we put it on the card we will have a little box for the center. Alright, the next thing is to do the mounting pieces for these pop-out DSPs. So this mount says it's 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. So it's just a square. Now, if you didn't want to use squares like I did, you could change them out for any other shape, especially if you do dies. You could use dies to die cut them. You could use your circles, you could use your square dies, whatever fits the design of your card, but these just happen to be squares. Okay, now I need a mount that's 1 7/8 by 1 7/8 2 times. Alright, so 1 7/8. I'm going to turn that and cut it square, so 1 7/8. And one more at 1 7/8. Okay, so that's all of the cardstock pieces. Okay, so here are the 3 that are going to be our pop-outs. Now we're going to cut the DSP part. So I'm going to do this background piece first. So I'm going to use this bold striped black and white pattern. This is the back of this piece, which critters are really cute, but today we're using the black and white side. So I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4 because that's my height. And you see I turned it because I want my lines to go this way, so my 5 1/4 goes that way. So 5 1/4, I need 4 for the inside background. And then it just works out that the other 2 pieces are 2 inches. You could go a little thinner, but you could go 2 inches. So let's see, I need 2 inches more off of this. I'm going to cut it off the bare side. And then I need that at 5 1/4. Okay, so we just cut the 3 pieces that are going to go in here like this. Okay, and then our pop box will go in there. And then we'll have our pop-out pieces. So for the pop-out pieces, I'm going to use this black and white polka dot pattern to put behind my little critters. So this time I need 2 1/4 is my biggest one. So I'm going to cut this at 2 1/4 by 6. And then I'm going to turn it sideways and cut 2 1/4 for the inside one. Okay, so that's going to be my biggest square. Then I've got these 2 smaller ones, and my smaller ones I need 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So let's see, if I do my math right, 1 3/4. And then I can turn it sideways. I think I can get them both out of this piece. 1 3/4. And slide that up. Open sesame. 1 3/4. Alright, so those are going to be our pop out elements for the front. Okay? Alright, I think we've done all the cutting we need to do. Alright, I'm going to put this aside. All my little scrap pieces to the side. Get them out of the way. So, here's your template. Here are all the pieces we just cut for our card. Okay? So, it takes a little time on this one, and you got to be careful of your measurements, but it's not overly taxing. You guys can do it. Okay, so now on the back of your template, it goes through all the steps that we're about to do on the video. So you can always refer back to this when you're putting yours together, or refer back to the video and just pause me as you work along. All right, so let's start by putting down this background DSP. Okay, we're just going to use liquid adhesive to put this all down. So I want to put it on the print side so that my black and white print ends up being the side for my card. Alright. So I've got my large one. It's just going to get framed in by that nice lemon lime twist green. Okay, here's my next one. And the last one. Now, I seem to have a little more green on the top than on the bottom, which means I didn't put them on quite square. So, in the end, I might end up trimming off that just to shrink up the frame a little bit, but I think by the time we're done, it'll probably be fine. Okay, so there's that piece. Now we have to make our box, because the box has to go in next. So I'm going to use my bone folder. I'm going to give all these really good crease, because I want them to open and close effortlessly. So I really want them to be nice, strong creases. Now, here's the way I think I found I like to do it best. I close my box like this. Okay, so here's the 2 open ends. So I close my box like this, and it's overlapping a little bit. So I'm going to take my paper snips and just trim off the one side that's overlapping. Just give it a little bit of a trim, just a little shave, so that when you close them, they don't overlap. Alright, now I'm going to add my liquid adhesive to these 2 little flaps. Okay, now I'm just going to flip this over. here is my center fold, and I'm going to line up that break with my center fold. So I'm just going to flip it over, line up my creases, and press. And I'm shooting for the middle. And I just press that down so it adheres into the body of the card. See, and then I can open and close the Z fold with that on the inside. Okay? So that's how I do that. Alright, now we can mount up our 3 pop-out squares. Now if you wanted to, you could use pattern paper, not just, background kind of paper textures, but, active papers, flowers or whatnot. For these, I've cut out critters to use on my card today, but you could do die cut flowers, you could do stamped flowers that are trimmed out. You can really decorate these out any way you want. You might have a series of sentiments you want to put on it. So remember, when you're making your own projects, this is just the template idea, and you can make them any way you want. Okay, so let's put the inside one on first. So here's what I do. We need to have it not come past this edge, but at the same time, when it's closed, we need it to not go past the outside. So you just kind of have to make sure that your square is really the size it's supposed to be. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive right here. Now I say a little bit because I only want it behind this corner of my square. I don't want it adhered to the other side of that box because then it won't open and close very well. So I only want it on the one side of the pop-out box and just behind this one corner of the square. Okay, so now when I open and close, it's almost, well, it's probably okay. Going past it just a little bit. If I can slide it down a little further in, that would be good. Alright, so there's that one. Now these two are going to be right on the creases, overlapping. Okay, see how I put those down? This is the fold. So I take the center of my line, my center line of my square on its side, right? It's on the tipped. And I'm going to put it right like this. And this one's going to go right down here. Okay, so I'm going to flip these over. Now this pattern doesn't matter because it's black and white polka dots. So if I think about it, I only want adhesive on one side, right? One side. And I'm kind of avoiding the center line because I don't want it to touch the folded part that folds back. I don't want it to snag. Alright, so now put this down. This. Now you know the points have to be at the top and the bottom of that crease. So you kind of, a little bit of adjustment time there. And this one's going to go down below. Make sure the glue adhesive's on the right side of that. Put this one in place and press that one down. Alright, so there's our basic card. Everybody with me? I hope you're all with me. Alright, so now we have, like I said, I've cut out my 3 little critters from the other piece of DSP, and I'm going to use those to decorate, but I'm also going to stamp a happy birthday from the So Sincere stamp set. Now this happy birthday runs up and down. Okay, here's the So Sincere stamp set, and I'm going to do it in the Lemon Lime Twist, because that's our color that we're using, and I picked that out from the DSP as one of the colors in my elements there. So I'm just going to ink this up, and I have a 1/2 inch piece of scrap white cardstock, and I'm just going to stamp this down the center. I hope I have a spare in case I don't like the way it comes out. Yeah, I rocked it a little bit. Alright, flip it over, I can try again. I'm going to take my little chamois, clean up my edge before I stamp it. Maybe that'll help not get that edge on there. Okay, let's try again. Stamp this down the center. Better, nice and clean. All right, so now I'm just going to trim this off just below the Y. And then this I'm going to put out here. Now that one I think I want to pop that up on dimensionals. All right, so I'm going to use 3. Peel those off and put those on. Alright, so I'm going to turn my card this way, and I'm going to put it between those 2 points. So we kind of have even spacing. Okay, so there's that. Now I've got my guys. Let's see. One. I'll put the elephant on the inside. Now I'm going to put the raccoon on the bottom. Yeah, put the raccoon on the bottom. I'm going to put the juggling koala on the top. And we're going to put the elephant on the inside. Alright, so now you could pop these up on dimensionals, or you can just adhere them down. I think I'm going to pop them up. I almost went the other way, but I'm going to pop them up. So we're just going to flip these over. Put down my dimensionals, give them some support. Peel these off. Alright, so we'll do the koala first. So he's going to go up here, our entertaining bear. And I've got our friend at the bottom with the balloons. Now these don't have to go exactly up and down, so I mean you could step them off to the side if you wanted to. I think I am going to kind of put them up and down because it kind of continues that whole line. And then on the inside I've got my elephant. So now I could have him peeking out with these guys. I could actually put him more to that side. And the mailman's going to love me because this one's probably going to need extra postage because I have this fun fold and then I'm popping all these guys up, but sometimes it's worth it, right? Our card-worthy friends are worth it. So I'm going to put this down here. Make sure my dimensional is not going to touch the back. And there we go. We've got a cute little happy birthday fun fold pop out. Alright guys, so you have your templates to play with, you have your kits to play with, and now you have the video to follow along with and do your own projects. And remember, when you're using these in your own projects later on, send me pictures of them. Let me know you're actually using this in your projects. I'd love to see what you're doing and how you change it up for your own card giving. Alright guys, do some fun stamping, and I'll see you again for the next fun fold for April in your video. Alright, bye-bye.